Hey there, and welcome to the KidzMatter podcast, your go-to resource for all things children's ministry. Each week, we bring you fresh ideas, inspiring stories, and practical insights to help you lead, love, and serve kids like never before. Whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned pro, we're glad you're here. Let's get started. Well, hey, KidzMatter podcast family. My name is Hannah Peckett-Augustine, and I am so excited for today's conversation. We're going to be hearing from our host, Jordan Davis, and Esther Moreno, who is the founder of Child's Heart Ministries. She is an incredible voice in children's ministry who is dedicated to helping kids and leaders become all that God has created them to be. In today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to interact, care for, and honor your senior pastor or church leadership. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. But first, let's check out a word from today's sponsor. Need faith-based supplies for Sunday school or church events? We've got you covered. At Oriental Trading, we understand how important it is to create meaningful, engaging experiences that reflect Jesus' love without breaking your budget. That's why we offer thousands of exclusive faith products, perfect for any occasion. From Vacation Bible School to fall festivals and Christmas pageants to Easter celebrations, Oriental Trading is your one-stop shop for year-round faith programming. Visit orientaltrading.com/faith to explore our full collection. Plus, use code KidzMatter25 for free shipping on any order, $10 off orders of $100, or $25 off orders of $250, now through August 31st. Let us help you shine a light on faith in your community. The more you buy, the more you save. We can't wait to jump into today's conversation, so let's get started.
All right, everybody, we're back here with the KidzMatter podcast live. We are at the KidzMatter conference. Esther, are you having a good week so far?
I'm having.
I mean, we're only like
an incredible week.
hours into it.
This is day 2, technically, right? Because we had a pre-party yesterday.
Pre-party, day 2. There's already been some breakouts. I've seen some people already tired, but they're going to get refueled because there's worship going on in there.
Worship has been absolutely amazing.
So I loved Ryan. Did you catch Ryan's thing about we're going to throw the spirit-filled people on the bottom, Baptist people up on the fourth tier? Yeah. I was like, Ryan, that may be the most genius thing I've ever heard you say. And it's true. Because I was upstairs looking around and that balcony was like
dangerous if you were too high in the balcony. So
yeah. Well, guys, we are loving doing podcasts all day. We're having some crucial conversations. So Esther, one, if people don't know you, I want them to hear a little bit of your heart. I want you to introduce yourselves, tell kind of your ministry journey, and then what's the heart behind Esther Moreno. But then we're going to get into some messy stuff with some church leadership. Stuff. Yeah, we're going to ask some hard questions. I love
messy stuff.
But let's throw down just about you for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Esther Moreno, and I'm the founder of Child's Heart, LLC, which is really dedicated towards training leaders on how to go forth with the spirit of excellence and how they reach children and families, train them and how they reach co-laborers and fellow volunteers who serve and labor alongside them and just really to do it the right way. And I've learned so much really from doing it the wrong way.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
My genius is birthed from my mistakes, but just really learning the right way and just really being passionate about sharing that and getting that out. And it's just been the most incredible, exciting journey. I get to hang out with cool people.
I love watching
like you. I know we hang out. So
we tight.
We tight.
Esther, where did you grow up? Like, I don't know if I've asked you some of these questions. Like, where did you grow up? How'd you get started in ministry? And then also we got some time today, like really talk about like spiritual development for you. Where did that start? Where did that go? So get into that part a little bit.
Absolutely. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. That's where I'm from. My dad is actually a retired Presbyterian minister, right?
Really?
So
I would not have guessed that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because of my energy. I'm like bouncing all over the place. My mom asked me if I'm adopted, but my dad's ministry was actually, they would take him and send him to broken churches. So any churches that were like marred, like with drama, like the worst of it all, he would have to go restore back to health. And then we would have to move again and go to another church that just had all of this drama. So we grew up as a kid with our tires slashed, windows broken by the church secretary because she's upset and she's angry about a decision that my dad made. And just growing up in that environment, like you would think I would have turned away from the church, but it was just the opposite. Like I just
fired you up.
Yeah, because when God calls you, I mean, you answer the call and you come, and he came in, and I think that it made me stronger. I think that it made me a better minister, and and I was able to deal with, I'm like, oh, you just slashed my tires, we're good.
Just means I'm doing something right. Yeah. Yeah. And so ministry, you obviously have been a kids pastor, and now kind of tell everybody, like, let's go in that span of you going out and doing your own thing a little bit, but still having the heart for the inner church.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was a kids pastor because God has a sense of humor.
Yep.
Like with the kids. But
Seriously.
I ended up doing that. But oh my goodness, like Jordan, I learned so much being in that environment. I mean, we've had kids and families who were dealing with like major loss. We've had children who have lost their siblings, and having to minister to them and to that child who's getting ready to meet Jesus, and to the family that's left behind, and really inspiring them on just knowing and believing God's word, and knowing that their siblings going to be okay, even though they can't see them physically. Just dealing with so many different situations in children's ministry, children coming in, with different needs, and feeling like you're not equipped to handle those needs, and watching the Spirit use you in a dynamic way to meet that need. And I'll tell you, Jordan, all of those experiences really inspired me to share my stories. I think God gives us stories and he gives us experiences. And I think we limit ourselves when we don't share those with others. And that was really the birth of Child's Heart, in believing that the stories that God had given me, the experiences that God had given me, that I needed to share those with others. Because I think so often we feel like it's just us and we're alone, or we're just dealing with certain things, or
ministry's a lonely place.
A lonely, exactly, So really that was the birth of that, just sharing all of that. It was something I was scared to do. I tried to talk myself out of it. I had days when I cried, wondering, can I really do this? Will this be successful? And the doors and the ways that God has made for me to share my story, to share those experiences, has just been absolutely incredible. We're on our 7th leadership book now for children's ministry leaders, and it has just been the most incredible journey, all because I was willing to jump off the cliff and share my story.
Well, it's been fun to watch from the backseat watching. And Esther, if I could say anything, like, I'm so proud of you, one, but two, know that God's proud of you. Like, you're changing the lives of leaders that are, and so that's why we're doing this all week long. We're sitting down and having some crucial conversations. And so we just had one that hit me on people pleasing. So I don't know when that's going to air compared to this one, but you need to go back or watch that one or wait for it, whatever.
Week. You need to air that one every week.
That one's good. But now we want to kind of dive into something I think every kids pastor struggles, and that's senior leadership. Like, here at KidzMatter, we're not afraid to talk about the tough stuff. And so we want to dive into that. So Esther, I'd love for you to speak into, like, how do we deal with senior leadership? One, and it's and seasoned leaders are going to say it's that fine line between respect, but also a little push. And making sure that kids ministry is prevalent, family ministry, wherever people are at, 4-6, all these things that people are here for. How do we make that prevalent, but also make it to where we respect our senior pastors? So let's walk through that. We're gonna walk through the good and the bad. So let's just have a conversation.
Are you ready for this conversation? Because I think this is a huge conversation. And I'll say this, and we'll let this go wherever it goes, Holy Spirit. But I think for a lot of us as children's ministry leaders, I think you're right. I think it can be a lonely place. It can be an isolating place. And we have to be careful, because if we're not careful, we can erect these islands that we have built. We have grown the palm tree ourselves, for that shade. And we're sitting on an island all by ourselves that we were never meant to sit on. And the enemy is like, you better plant another palm tree on that island. And it was never meant to be that way, and I'll say, from my perspective, I've seen the healthy way and the unhealthy way. I've walked through the unhealthy way, right? And being that frustrated children's ministry leader, and not approaching it the right way. And I've also seen it done. I've also seen it done the healthy way. I've walked other leaders who are just, the scales are so thick because they are so hurt. And the crazy thing is, being an outsider as a trainer and as a coach and looking in, you see two people who love the Lord. You see a senior leader who's passionate about God, who wants what's best for the children and families. And then you have this children's ministry leader who's passionate about God and wants what's best for the children's ministry. And they're like banging heads.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, Jordan, one of the things for me, I'll tell you, I have an incredible relationship with our senior pastor. It has not always been like that in the past with other pastors, but I've learned over time, man, when you serve people well, they will serve you well.
Yeah.
When you love people well, including senior leadership, including your senior pastor, they will love you well. When they feel your support, I think that we forget sometimes that they're human.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get so caught up in our hurt or in our frustration or in our need that we totally miss their human needs.
Yes.
You know, their human needs for connection, their human needs for a pat on the back. And we come in with criticism. Saying, hey, look, I need this, boom, boom, boom. And you didn't get it for me because you don't care about the children's ministry and you don't support me. And it's a lot of me. And that is debilitating for senior leadership, you know?
Well, I almost think that's where this conversation starts of we want support from our senior pastor, but how are we supporting our senior pastor? Like technically, we're trying to help them succeed, because if they're not succeeding and we're not succeeding, then nobody's succeeding. And so let's get into some practical stuff as we have this conversation. Like, what are ways that we can support our senior pastor? Just in practical ways.
And let me tell you a practical way. Be their friend.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Be there. Can I tell you something? Our senior pastor, we talk to each other on the phone. We will send stupid jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'll tag him, I'll tag the first lady, and we're all just talking, having a good time, laughing. I sent him a picture today because there was a picture on social media, and they were supporting this family, and their kid was in the front and had this big frown on his face, and it cracked me up. So I sent it to him, and I'm just like all these LOL emojis. And we constantly check on them. We constantly pray for them. We've invited them into our home. That's something that we haven't done. I mean, it was unheard of when I was a children's ministry leader back in the day. But now we actually invite them into our home. We have dinner together. We break bread together. And what happens is they're like, man, Esther and Guy, they're our friends. They care about us. They love us. They're constantly checking in on us. Sometimes I'll send her flowers. You know, our first lady, I'll send her flowers. Just let her know, I'm praying for you. I love you. I'm proud of the work that you're doing. I want you to know that I'm walking alongside you in your vision, even if it's something that I don't agree with. I'm like, let's go. I trust what God has put in you, the vision that God has put in you. I trust that. And even though I may not be able to see it, I'm going to walk alongside you. And it does something to them. And you know what it does? It helps our children's ministry. Because now I'm coming to them saying, hey, this is a need. Oh, this is my friend. Hook it up. Whatever they need, make sure that they have it. What's happening?
100%. Yeah. Well, especially like if you are out there and you have your pastor's kids in your ministry, they're entrusting you with their kids. So they already believe in you. Like they may not verbalize it. A lot of senior pastors, I think that's the thing, is they just don't verbalize it. They mean it. But they got 1,000 other things going on. And we think in the back of our mind, they just got time for us. And it's like, man, that's the farthest from the truth.
They're carrying so much. And I think that we forget they carry so much. And they're entrusting the children and families into our care because they're trusting us because they're carrying it just so much. I just think it's so important for us to be human. I would say that. And I think that sometimes we put senior leadership on a pedestal. You know, we forget just like we deal with anxiety. Sometimes we deal with depression. Sometimes we don't know. We're walking to the unpredictable, and they're dealing with the exact same emotions in different ways with different situations and different circumstances. And I think if we were to lower them a little bit and kind of heighten God way more up here, we would see that we're not so different and be able to love each other better.
And I think some of that, like you just hit on, is really like our perception versus the reality of our senior pastor. I'll never forget, like, I was in my church, the church I'm at now, like 6 weeks, and the pastor's like, can I take you to dinner? And I'm like, I was scared to death. Like, what did I do wrong?
What?
Like, we automatically fear the worst.
So many people tell me that.
And you know what? my senior pastor and I go out every other Thursday, for dinner, every Thursday night. And he don't want to talk about church.
Well, yeah.
He wants to talk about my family, my kids, and how I'm doing.
That's incredible.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Are you for real a senior pastor or are you like a health coach or something?
Yeah.
Like, I think we're so scared that we don't open that door for a conversation to happen. And so, like, we're putting up these barriers as maybe youth pastors or kids pastors, middle school pastors.
We're erecting
but we don't even let that.
We are erecting these barriers.
Yes. And we don't let the relationship happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one thing. But I also think that we were scared to cross that friend line.
Yeah.
So, like what you were saying, like, I think sometimes we're like, we can't be friends with ourselves. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Like,
it is so beautiful and so amazing. And your relationship with senior leadership impacts the children and families you serve. It impacts the volunteers who co-labor alongside you. And I mean, this is a message I'm just really passionate about because I think we get this wrong so often. Yeah. And I'm like, if we would lower ourselves, if we would send a text message like we sent to a friend to check on our senior leadership. Hey, Pastor, that sermon really touched me. And I just want to tell you, you're doing an amazing job. And this is how that resonates with them. That does something to them. And I just think it's so important. And honestly, let's say we're talking about disagreement, right? Because the truth is, there are situations where there are disagreements in the ministry. How do we handle that when there is a huge disagreement? And I do want to kind of cross over into that because I think that's really important because things like that happen, and I think that we have to be prayerful, and we really have to discern in those moments and how to approach it. I think a lot of times when it comes to conflicts, it's a right way to approach it, and it's a wrong way to approach it. I think so many of us get it wrong. Instead of approaching in love, we approach in criticism. I mean, it's like a water hose, like them drinking from a water hose, all of the complaints and criticism and things, that haven't been done right and things that you need and no real solutions on how to do it. No educated response on this is why this needs to happen and this is why this needs to be done. And I'm passionate because I know that you're leading in an excellent way and this is an excellent church and you want a church of excellence and I believe we should do this. What do you think, Pastor? And really come together. I think it would be so much better for a lot of us. I think when we don't do that and we come in guns blazing, but boom, boom, bap, bap, bap.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why this division is coming up, and the enemy loves it. He loves when we are divided and the scales start growing. The skin starts getting dry over the eyes, and and everything that they do, good or bad, is filtered through these heavy scales.
Well, I think what you just said too is like they already don't need somebody else being toxic.
Yeah.
I know for me, like when I'm stressed, I go passive aggressive.
Yeah.
My senior pastor does not need Jordan passive aggressive because he's got 1,000 other people that are already passive aggressive.
Here we go.
And so where we think we're being heard by being loud or being a jerk. We're digging our grave.
Digging the grave.
And then all it's doing is separating our relationship. And any amount of vulnerability we had or any kind of buy-in we had in the previous conversation is now ruined really quick overnight.
Yeah.
So how do we move on from that? Like what are some practical things we can do to build good relationship, one? And two, like as you've had conflict with senior leadership, what have you seen work and what have you seen not work?
I'll say this. One thing, practical thing that I'll say that I've recommended it just from talking to other senior pastors. Show a pride in the church that you go to and the church that you're serving. When you're not expressing any pride and you're just showing up and you're working and you're laboring on the back end, but they don't feel like you're proud of the space that you're in.
No ownership.
That does something. So one thing I would say, and that I would recommend, especially in this digital age where you got all these pastors who are posting reels and samples of their sermon, can you post that too on your page? Can you say, look at my pastor and what he's done, and I'm so proud to be a part of Boom 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 Church? I think practical things like that you think go unnoticed. And they're like, well, look at there.
Yeah. Well, we expect people in our church to be a marketer for our church, and then we ourselves are not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll post other stuff.
That's good. Oh, yeah. I'll post my barbecue stuff.
Hey, we'll post other pastors. We're like, wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I get an amen?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Which in their mindset, as you grow closer to your senior pastor, then you realize the dark space that they're in.
Yeah.
that not there, not some humility there, but not there's that fine line for them that they need to know that God is using them in a mighty way. And you're speaking to me, and you're speaking to the people in my church. You're speaking to families in my ministry, and I thank you for that. Like,
and Jordan, I would say too, make sure when you see things, and there are things that break your heart, go up to them like a friend.
Yeah.
Share with them what's breaking your heart and why it's breaking your heart. And I'm not talking about a criticism. Maybe it's hey, we're getting these kids in and they have certain needs and we really want to meet them. We really want them to meet Jesus. And it just breaks my heart when I feel like I'm not doing this, or we don't have the resources for this, and the research says this. And I'll never forget when I had a podcast interview and I was interviewing these pastors. And just what you're saying, Jordan, I remember one pastor in particular, he said, "Oh, we're swamped. We're so busy. It's so much going on, in our lives. But if you could just break our hearts with what breaks yours, if you could talk to us, if you could communicate with us, if you could tear down those walls that we've erected from fear and anxiety, or this is senior leadership up here and we're over here and the two shall not meet." And just really walk in relationship with us so that we could, because we don't know.
No.
We don't know. And if you would share that with us, and I think if we would communicate more effectively, and try to get more comfortable with it, I think that would help a lot and tear down a lot of walls.
And I think some of that just starts by doing some practical things of sharing the why you want something and the heart behind it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I go in, we were just laughing, we're doing a building project, and I had to talk to a contractor a little bit ago, and it's like, when I told my pastor the heart behind why I wanted family, I want to build a space so it's right outside my kids' doors. I want a place where families can connect after church. Dunk in the bucket, done. When I said I just wanted a $120,000 playground, my pastor's like, "For what? We already have 4 other playgrounds."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we do a bad job a lot of times of just sharing the why and the heart behind it, and seeing us broken. Like, why do I want to go to school? Well, Pastor, do you know that the school down the road has 29 languages and they just need somebody to come in and love on them? Well, instead, all we said is, "Can I go buy a $5,000 food truck and take and serve free ice cream?" Well, those are 2 totally different things, even though they are the same thing.
But Jordan, now you cross over to something different, because now you're asking us to do our homework. Now you're asking us to know
and that
what
takes
we're talking
work.
about. Now now you're asking us to do our homework and really come with wisdom and an educated response instead of just our feelings. So I think that we struggle with that, and it's so important that we do our homework and that we're able to give those educated responses and those heartfelt, and merge the two together on why this is important, on why this matters. And when we skip those steps, you're 100% right. It just kind of breeds chaos.
But I think going to your pastor prepared, because you realize you're showing them that their time is valuable. I was laughing. I was presenting something a couple of weeks ago to a business organization, and literally his secretary told me, this dude, very wealthy, very prominent business leader, congressman, in fact, you can have 15 minutes of his time. I had to think, because I'm a talker. So what do I want to portray and
you
get
in the
out
Shark
in
Tank.
15? So if you think of your senior pastor's time as like that, and say, I need you to understand, I just need 10 minutes of your time. I don't need the 30-minute lunches everybody else in the church is asking for. I just want to tell you the heart behind what I need. And so I think if we understand their time is valuable and their heart is sincere, then that is how we start that level.
And Jordan, it could be even something simple. Maybe what you need is our T-shirts for everybody. I really want to keep our kids safe. I want families to know who's over the children. This is why I need this. Boom, 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 boom. This is what's happening. This is what, after my research, this is what other places are doing, and this is why they're doing it. I visited other children's pastors. I've sat down, to see what are they doing, what's working for them. I think this may work for us. What do you think?
Yeah. And asking, what do you think?
Like
I think a lot of times too.
Can you care about what they think?
I'm bad about this one. Like, this is what I need, and it's my way or the highway.
Exactly.
Do you know that my senior pastor was an executive pastor? My senior pastor was a youth pastor. He may know a little more about ministry maybe than I do. And he may say, what if you did it this way? Like, I think a lot of times we go to them and don't expect any feedback. So as we kind of let's shift this conversation a little bit. When things do go south, because they're going to go south at some point, how do we rebuild that relationship? And how do we walk in humility with forgiveness? For maybe they've hurt us or we've hurt them on either side.
I'm gonna.
That's deep right there. That's
it
a lot.
is. It's so deep, Jordan, but it's so simple. Can I tell you, just from my story, it can be so easy to be going through the motions of ministry, and then you replace your relationship with God and your connection with Him with what you're doing for children and families.
Yeah.
And I've gotten caught up in that trap before, where I'm like, I don't remember the last time I literally felt times of refreshing in God's presence. I remember feeling busy. I feel busy 24/7. I know I'm doing stuff. I know people are thanking me, but taking out that time with God, when we take out that time with God, can I tell you, and I know you know, He will refuel you. He will refocus your attention. He will convict you. He will fill you with wisdom on how to navigate these difficult situations. And I think it's so important that we stay connected to God. Now, I ain't say to the ministry.
No, yeah.
Do excellent ministry, but you're not going to do excellent ministry if you're not connected with God. You're going to be tossed to and fro.
Yeah.
Wondering, did the pastor just do this sarcastic smirk about something? You're going to be focused on the wrong things when you are not connected with the Father. And I say that, and it sounds so simple, but I think that is so important. I do want to say this. We have to be connected because we have to be prayerful, because there are going to be some situations where you're in a toxic situation.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are situations that you may have to walk away from.
Yeah.
I have seen so much, Jordan. I have seen people on staff literally suffering from depression and anxiety and having to go to counseling and on pills because of their treatment from senior leadership.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we're really getting in the danger zone. And it's okay. I want to say this. We still want to fight for children and families.
Yeah.
But we have to discern when God is saying, it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
It's time to get up. You served well, still walk in humility, like you said. But I think this is why we have to be so connected to God, because we have to discern the two, you know? Because you could just be all up in your feelings, and God's like, I didn't tell you to go nowhere.
Yeah.
You just so stuck up in your feelings because stuff didn't go your way that now you're talking about, so now you're trying to put your resume in somewhere else. And God's like, I didn't tell you to leave this place. But I do think we have to be able to discern the two.
That's good. And healthy boundaries. I remember because I can see him, but Ricardo, a couple years ago, I was just aggravated with some stuff, and I was just complaining. He said, Jordan, when's the last time you prayed for your senior pastor? And I was like,
oh,
it's been a while.
Yeah.
And he said, maybe the problem is that you've lost your heart for your senior pastor. You've lost prayer for your senior pastor. You've lost time in going to the throne for your senior pastor. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
What if that was... You just set a challenge right there to pray for your senior pastor for 30 days.
Oh,
and see what happens.
Yeah. And so you're trying to get a situation to change, but you ain't know put no skin in the game.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think a lot of times there's these battles that happen, and we think it's all on them.
Yep.
Because we are always right in kids ministry, right?
Always right. They don't understand.
And so I'll never forget that. Of course, he won't even remember, but I'll never forget that, because I realized, like, and same thing with the week. There's more than the story I'm going through.
Yeah.
And if you're going to battle for your senior pastor to the throne, then things are going to change. Or we got to
change.
Well, I was like, or you change, or you got to have this conversation that you just said. Maybe it's time to leave, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes we feel bound because we want to make sure we stay a certain amount of time or do a certain thing. There's going to be times where it's just time to go.
Yeah.
And there's unhealthy situations. I mean, we have to be honest. Like, part of these crucial conversations we want to have is sometimes you're in a messed up situation. I mean, I've been in them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may not just be leave, but like for me, it was take a year off of ministry because I wasn't in a good spot. I was the toxic one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to be willing to own up to that.
Yeah. And it's through that relationship too, Jordan, I would say, that we're able to forgive that relationship with the Father. Like, when we're constantly connected, because let me tell you something, in your own strength, when you done been through some stuff, it is difficult. But when you constantly have that connection, the Holy Spirit will strengthen you and give you what you need to forgive and to let go and to heal.
Yeah. That's good. So, Esther, as we kind of start closing up a little bit, what if a kids pastor, family pastor, youth pastor, whatever, could sit at their desk each week and maybe do 3 or 4 things? What are some practical things that they could do? One for their senior pastor, but I want to even get a little deeper just into senior leadership in general. Maybe people watching are under a family pastor, they're under a youth pastor, they're under executive pastor. Not just a senior pastor. What can we do to help uplift just the brand, the whole church as a whole?
Yeah. I mean, I think really, Jordan, to answer that question, I would say be willing to serve.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about in children's ministry. Be willing to check on senior leadership. Be willing to say, hey, I just want to check on you. Is there anything that you need?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I can do for you? Yeah, I know. Thank you. I know. Well, I appreciate you telling me I'm doing a good job, but I just want to make sure you're good. I want you to know that I'm proud to serve under your leadership. I want you to know that it means the world to me to be here. And I think little steps like that.
Being a team player.
It seems so little, but what that opens up.
Yeah.
That opens up minds. That opens up hearts.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were willing to serve each other more with a heart of love, I think there would be so much healing.
Yeah.
I think there would be so much joy in serving together when we're doing it with love. Because can I tell you, serving is exhausting.
Yes.
Oh, you know.
Well, we're looking around. I mean, people are just getting out of breakouts. Like, people are tired.
Yeah.
And I think that we forget that, like, not only we always are going to go to bat for our volunteers and our nursery workers, and they're tired. Your senior leadership is saying they're tired too.
They're tired too. But when you work together, when you refuse to let the enemy come in and divide, and you put on your boxing gloves and you fight, when you start feeling those feelings of insecurity or frustration, and you fight, Jordan, man, don't get me started. There's nothing that God can do. And that's serving, even in exhaustion, you will find yourself doing that with joy.
Yeah. Well, and I think we have to take ownership as leaders. That the health of the whole staff is some of our responsibility too. It's not just on our senior leadership. Toxicity runs deep.
Yes.
And so if we're fueling the fire, if we're having conversations, I mean, one of the things I wanted to make sure we got to is, like, if you're talking behind your pastor's back and you think it's not going to get back to them, it's going to get back.
I mean, we should say that together. It always
will,
gets back
100%.
to them.
And if you're not stopping the conversations that are happening behind your senior pastor's back, then you're not doing your job.
And when you're not communicating, like when you're not communicating, when you're not being intentional about relationship, I have seen it, and I've seen it get really ugly. And you're saying stuff you don't even know. Toxic stuff is coming out of your mouth.
And it just you could just be shaking your head. Yes.
You saying it? Look, and there are people who are on their team of senior leadership, and they're hearing you, and they're like, did I just hear something?
Yeah. And that is when things start falling apart.
And
so then we look back years down the road, and you're like, when did it all end? It ended at that conversation that you should have stopped and never had.
Yep.
And then 100%. We don't take ownership of it.
Yeah.
All right. So out of all that, if you could just speak into the life of a leader today, one, I'd love for you to speak into, like, a brand new leader in kids ministry, but also, like, maybe that person's just tired and weary.
Yeah.
And they're in a bad spot with their senior leadership. What would you say to them? And I got one more question for you in a minute.
Yeah. For those if you're a newbie, and welcome to the beautiful chaos. Of the view, and we say beautiful chaos of serving children and families. This calling is not just a volunteer role. It's not just a title. It is a sacred, holy calling, and we welcome you. And if you are dealing with issues with your senior leadership, if there are disagreements, if you're having trouble seeing eye to eye, I want to challenge you to see yourself. I want to challenge you to go into your prayer closet, to spend time with the Father, to ask the Holy Spirit to come in, to encompass the situation. I want to encourage you to communicate with love. I want to encourage you to use the discernment that God has given you. And I also want to encourage you to let you know that what you do matters. God has called you to this place for such a time as this. And your work, what God has put in you in this season, your ministry needs. So fight the devil. Can I say that? Can I say it on the podcast? Fight the devil.
Oh, I'm all about it.
Put on your boxing gloves. And I want you to get in there. I want you to fight with love, with humility, and build this kingdom of God to the glory of God.
because it's a shared responsibility we all have.
Yeah.
Esther, just really was thinking through too, like as I'm just sitting here kind of processing everything we've been talking about. I think we also need to kind of hit the other side from our point. What would you say if you could say anything to a senior pastor, senior leadership from a kid's pastor brain, what they want to portray that they cannot say?
Okay, wait, say that again.
Like something, if a kid's leader's out there, or say something to a senior pastor that their kid's pastor probably wants to tell them is afraid to tell them. That'd be another way to say it.
I'm kind of scared of you.
Yeah.
I mean,
we could do a whole podcast just on things. That question right there. I'm scared of you. You intimidate me.
I'm a little intimidated. I need to know that you're approachable. I need to have moments and interactions with you that are not just about children's ministry or how the children's ministry is going. I need to have your support. I am fighting to do everything that I can to serve children and families to the glory of God, to represent this ministry well, to represent the kingdom well. I can't do it well if I don't have your support. Yeah. And I think that kids pastor, we screaming, I need you. I need you. I love you. I appreciate you. I need you to see me. I need you to see these children and these families. Now, I think they would say that.
Yeah, I love that. I think just for personal a little bit, I need to see you.
Yeah.
Our senior pastor just in the last little bit, and I have not done a good job telling him I appreciate this, but he's been popping my large group worship. And just me seeing his face, the kids never see him.
Yeah.
He stops in the back and peeks his head in. I need him to see me in my element, not for me, but to know he cares.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a separate building, far away from the main sanctuary. I need to see your face pop in and realize that what my leaders do has value, especially for our volunteers.
Yeah.
Like they need to see you, that you care enough that you're going to pop over. You're going to pop in a kids event every now and then. They need to see your presence. So I would say to senior pastor, be present.
Yeah.
Like that is important. And even though you don't have to say, it's a spot where you don't have to speak anything. Don't say anything. I just need you to be there.
You don't have to stay the whole time.
Just need you to be there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I think that brings more value than we could ever say.
100%. 100%.
All right, Esther, last one.
Okay.
That person that's weary, burned out, tired, ready to quit. And it may be because of senior leadership. It may just because they don't have enough volunteers.
Yeah.
Like just give them a couple minutes of just some motivation right now.
Man, if you are tired and you are weary and just feeling like, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore, can I encourage you to get a network of people around you? Can I encourage you by saying, I know you're weary. I know you feel like you're on an island all by yourself, but you are not. Jordan, this is why I love events like this.
Oh, yeah.
You get like-minded children ministry leaders and volunteers and those who are laboring for children and families all across the country, really across the globe.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you, across the globe, who are dealing with the exact same thing you're dealing with. Look, someone all the way in Africa or in Bangladesh is dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with, and you're inspiring them because you're fighting.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage you. I want you to know. The main thing I want you to know is that you are not by yourself.
Yeah.
You are not alone. Please don't put the whole ministry on yourself. Please know that it's not your ministry, but it's God's ministry. That God has entrusted those kids into your care, but that they are His, that the ministry is His. So don't carry all of the burdens God did not call for you to carry. Trust Him. Believe Him. Take a sabbatical if you need to.
Yeah.
Take a break if you need to. Have boundaries. It is okay. Can I say this to those who just need a break? Sometimes we don't need to walk away. Sometimes we just need a vacation.
Sunday off. Or actually go to church.
Yeah. Or actually go to church. Or worship today was incredible. It was so many leaders in there who don't get to go to church.
That's what I always say. That's my favorite part of KidzMatter conference is you hear a year's worth of bound up worship in somebody, and that's not the way it should be. That's the way it is.
Yeah. And I mean, if you need a break, be willing to take that break and know that your ministry is not going to fall apart if you take care of you. If you take care of you and you're full and you're whole, that's the best way to take care of the ministry. So have boundaries, take a break, God's got the ministry and he's got you.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Esther, thank you so much for being here.
I love hanging out with you.
And one thing I love, guys, I love about Esther, and I would even challenge you all with this: share your story. Esther, you bring your story, you bring your life, you bring just even talking about your dad today. Like, that puts a perspective of you've been through some stuff. You've been through some hurts, some habits, probably some hangups along the way. And if we don't talk about those, then we're almost unrelatable as a leader. And I was just saying us, I'm saying any leader.
Anybody,
So even in your church, if you're not sharing, like I told a story the other day about me growing up as a kid to my kids in my kids ministry, and they're like, "Oh, you were a kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was a kid at one point." And I struggled with that. You know what I told? I was laughing, telling them, like, I used to clean my room and throw all my stuff in my closet, and I lied to my mom and told her, and they're like, "You did?" Be real. And share your story. So, Esther, thank you so much, guys. That's all for today's podcast. Can't wait to see you next time here on the KidzMatter podcast. We'll see you later.
Oh my goodness, what an incredibly rich conversation. I think my favorite line was when they said that your relationship with your senior leadership impacts the children and families you serve. We cannot afford to avoid this area of our lives. And I hope this conversation encouraged you in your relationship with your senior leadership to know how to honor them, respect them, and work alongside them. Don't forget to take a moment to check out orientaltrading.com and use the code KidzMatter25 to get some amazing discounts on there. Know that we love you, we support you, we're cheering you on, and we cannot wait to see you on next week's episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.